Hello, welcome to our very first ever live embodied cooking class right here on Patreon. I am truly excited to be here and also looking forward to just relaxing with you all and doing some cooking, making some lunch together. What I'm going to give you today is a warm October lentil salad. Calling it October because it's October and it just kind of fits in. It's all the good things that we have at this time of year. And I kind of came up with this. I cobbled it together I was doing a yoga workshop with some friends the other weekend and came up with this for everyone. It was just really delicious. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with you all today. But since the purpose of these classes is for us to really connect with ourselves, I'm excited to connect with you all, but very much each of us is in our own space. And the work here is about connecting with ourselves and just being here now. So we're going to start with some very deep collective breaths. Just going to guide us in that 3 deep breaths. Let's just really feel our torsos expand as we breathe in. 1 big breath to 5. Pause to peak and out for 5. Feel my body settling. Another 1 to 5. Pause and out. And for this last one, just the deepest breath you've ever breathed. Feel it all the way up into your collarbones. Pause and out. Wonderful. And so I'll ask each of you to just take a moment to sort of set your intention for what it is you want to experience today during this class. For me, I just really want to be right exactly here with whatever it is so that I can communicate all that goodness to you. Okay, let's begin. So we're going to start with some vegetables. I have celery, carrot, and pepper here today. You could absolutely add in some onion, any type of onion, garlic as well. All kinds of things that we could add. Anything that sort of can cook for a little while because we're going to put this in some oil with the lentils. I'm going to just get started. The celery is good to go. I think I need to just cut off this end bit here. Get rid of that. Other than that, it's good. It's washed. We're going to talk about the senses a lot because that's what really brings us into the now. Hear that slice? So satisfying. And if you're in more of a hurry, this could absolutely go faster. But to me, the point of these classes is really to take time to actually let things take a little longer than is necessary. How luxurious, to just luxuriate in the process and the enjoyment of cooking. The way that I'm holding my knife, it's releasing all these aromas, the aromas of the celery, which who even thinks about celery having a great aroma, but because I'm right here, it's actually really nice. It's so refreshing. This is the joy of being the cook. that is our celery done. Oh, and our carrot is trying to run away. Fair enough. I'd be scared too if someone was coming at me with a knife. So this one is, I usually actually don't like to peel them, and this one's looking pretty good. I'm just going to quickly clean it one more time and just rough it up a little bit. But it really depends on how gnarly it is. With root vegetables, it's like if it's still got bits of dirt clinging to it, it can be really nice to take your peeler and just get rid of some of those pieces so you don't have big chunks of dirt in your food. That's sort of unpleasant. But the peel is actually, I believe, quite good for us in terms of nutritional value. And, you know, it's nice not to be able to skip a step, right? So I'm going to skip that this time. And I'm going to try to create similar slices to the celery. It's always a nice way of doing it. And you'll notice if you want to experiment maybe with different sizes of things, you can. But I've found that if you try to just if you want things to be chunky, make it all chunky. If you want it to be smaller, make it smaller. It's just nice to have them the same size because then they cook at the same rate. And then everything is sort of softens together, which is pleasing. I'm just going to be quiet some of the time. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, but I'm also going to be quiet and just let you enjoy the sounds that we're hearing. Sometimes it can be, I can find it actually kind of challenging to do that because I feel, you know, I'm the teacher. I should be always telling you what's next, what's happening. I think sometimes I just need to show you, model what this actually feels like, show you how I can feel my body softening as I simply focus my attention on just what I'm doing, just as though the present is the only thing, you know, the future doesn't exist. The past already happened. You hear the sound of the fridge groaning. That's what it sounds like anyway. Probably making ice or something like that, but it sounds like it's maybe groaning. Maybe it's also taking some really deep breaths and just trying to relax. I mean, that's the funny thing about relaxing is it can feel almost embarrassing, like almost when we're so relaxed, right? Like what could happen? My eyelids will sort of droop. When we're so relaxed, we're a little vulnerable. It can be hard to fully relax around sometimes other people, which is why I think, you know, especially if you have a really busy job or you're cooking after, you know, a long day or you've got a lot of people around, even people that you love and you feel safe and comfortable around, it can still just be hard, I think, to fully relax and just allow our bodies to rest. But yeah, but it's okay. And so I think telling ourselves like this is our time to really relax. Be nice. This is one of my other favorite aromas, the pepper. And I love the way that I can feel the wetness. There are all these little pockets of moisture here. It's like if I break it, there's probably can't pick it up, but there's water that is like exploding, this beautiful pepper water that comes out of here. It's amazing. these incredible things that we get to eat. And they're going to transform that much more because we're going to cook them. We're not going to be eating these raw. We're going to transform them with our effort, which is just, I don't know, a powerful feeling. Something like that for me anyway. Makes me feel like a witch, which is perfect for October, right? Okay, so I'm going to bring these over here. We are going to make our lentil mixture now. I'm going to just turn on I have my cast iron skillet here, but you could use any kind of non-stick situation, or even a pot actually would be fine. And I am going to add, I think I said about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm just going to wait for the camera to add my olive oil here. Just a decent amount because like a little more than we need for the vegetables really, because it's also going to be cooked in with lentils, and this is going to be some oil that's going to be in the whole salad. So just thinking about things like that a little bit. You know, what is the overall, what's everything that we're doing here? And I always find it so much easier to think about that when slowed down like this and really in the moment. So we have some nice olive oil and it's warming. I'm just going to wait for it to get a little warmer. I have it on about medium heat here. And then I'm going to pop the vegetables in and we should hear a sizzle, which is, again, so soothing and so exciting at the same time. Yes. So I can see the oil beginning to kind of shimmer. And I think that's something that's written in recipes a lot, but you can actually see it. It's a real thing. Like these sort of micro bubbles begins to shimmer and move. And it's like the oil itself changes its texture. It becomes a little thinner and it moves quicker because it's so warm. And so that's happening, which is exciting. We have sizzle. Amazing. I'm just going to add a little salt. And the salt will just help release the juices a little bit. I'm just going to do this for a few minutes before we add the lentils. Lovely black. I think these are beluga lentils actually, which are slightly smaller than what are often sold as black lentils, but sometimes they're the same thing. But a French lentil is also good. The only kind you want to stay away from if you're making this at home and you want to use a different lentil would be like the red split lentils, because those will not hold their shape, which is no problem if you're making a soup or a stew. But in this case, because we're making a salad, we want them to remain as a little lentil rather than becoming mush, or it will be just a little messier in the salad. Well, it smells wonderful already. It's kind of fun to stick your face down, so long as there's no actual oil spraying. Don't do it if you see any oil spraying. But if not, then it's kind of like you just get this like warm facial, like cold, warm, cold, warm. Pretty cool. And I can feel the warmth like just flooding down my neck. I am actually going to very quickly go off camera and just measure these out in a general way and rinse them quickly, because that's a good thing to do, because sometimes you can have some lentils that are really hard, like little rocks, and when you bite into one of those, it's a bummer. So I want to make sure that I can grab those out and just quickly do that. Enjoy the sizzling. Okay, now I am back, and a little bit, ooh, I'm getting water on the floor. It's okay. We've got a little bit of color here, which is really all we need. We're not looking for anything dark. It's going to cook for another 20 minutes or so. We're going to add the lentils. Ooh, kind of dramatic and beautiful. The dark lentils against these beautiful, bright, kind of fall colors. Just need a red pepper in here and we'd be all set. Yeah. Gorgeous. And now I'm just going to add some water. I'm not measuring in this pan. I'm just going to add enough to cover. And I'm going to keep it on this heat. I'm actually going to turn it up until it begins to simmer. And then I will, ooh, I can feel myself slipping in the water that I just spilled. And rather than risk anything, I'm going to just quickly clean it up, because my senses just told me that's slightly dangerous. Wiping this up with my foot very efficiently. All right. Okay, so this is what we're doing. This is it. Now we just wait 20 minutes as I make the rest. And we will monitor this with our senses. We'll hear it beginning to bubble. And then once it begins to bubble, I'll probably set a timer just to sort of make sure that we don't miss anything. Okay. Just beginning to bubble. Let me put my pepper away. Okay, so now we'll build up the rest of the salad, which is really just going to involve cutting up some kale and some other greens. These, again, truly use whatever you like. I do like to have something heartier mixed with maybe something that's a little less hearty, just for fun. The hearty one is so great because we're going to be putting this really warm lentil, so it's going to basically wilt the greens a little bit right away. Which this will be like, I've got this, no problem. And this, we don't want as much wilting, but it's nice to just have the difference of textures. But you could use all hearty greens if you preferred. Wonderful. So here we have our kale. And it's a little bit wilty because I got this from the farmer's market a few days ago. But it's still really, really good. A lot of fun. Oh, I can hear with my ears that we have simmering. So I'm just going to turn it down and hit a timer for 20 minutes. Actually, let's do 15 and see how it does. 18. Yeah. And we'll see how it's doing at that point. Still chewing on this bit of lettuce. So I'm talking about the senses a lot, but something really nice to do is actually really go through them purposefully. And that with something called the 5-4-3-2-1 technique, which I think we'll try to do every class just once. And that means going through each of the senses, naming. So we'd start with sight. We would name 5 things that we can see. And we'll do it in a second. But the reason we do this is, and the reason this is kind of a powerful technique, and it's so fun to do in a class like this, but you can do it when you're walking down the street. And it's something that can just bring you back always to the present moment. Because if you're really looking at something that's in front of you, you're hearing something, you're feeling something, or tasting, smelling, then you have to be right here. And so that often can pull you out of, say, some scary thoughts you're having, maybe about the future, or some regretful sadness, something that you're ruminating on maybe from the past. Anything like that, or even just like, oh my gosh, do I have time for these things? You're planning a to-do list and feeling really anxious about that. Whatever it is, this can kind of bring you back. So we'll do it together. So 5 things that I can see. This beautiful kale leaf, its ridges, and my knife with its shine, and my board, and this other shiny bowl, and my water glass. All of these things are right here. And then 4 things maybe that I can hear. There's a sound of my own voice, and kind of the feel of it in my throat. There's this gentle, gentle simmering. Actually, there's the crunch from the lettuce that's still in my cheek. And there's a sort of ambient sounds from the street that I can just hear in the little sort of movement of the house and the fridge and all those noises that are just sort of around those ambient sounds. What should we do for 3? Shall we do feel? Because I'm feeling something right now. So of course there's this kale, and I can feel both the leaf and the water. And I can actually feel my feet on the ground too. Lift my toes, then put them back on the ground. And then 2 things that I can smell. I can smell from the lettuce that's in my mouth. It's sort of going through my nose. And I think I'm beginning to smell this as well. Just starting to come into the room. That sort of earthy smell of lentils just starting to hit us. And then taste, well, I have to put something new in there because I just finished my my lettuce. So we'll do some kale. I got some water in my chin. Very bitter, but pleasing and wonderfully textured, in my opinion. That's a funny thing. It's like tastes aren't always totally pleasant, but how cool is it that we are tasting something? Like, what an interesting way to experience something, like in our mouth. It tells us so much about it. And here we are. So now I am going to prepare the kale in this very fun way, which is we take the end and sort of just start it along the ridge here. And then we kind of take it and we pull down and pull out this little guy. And when it's fresh, it's very easy to do. It's a little bit more challenging when it's droopy. Even just this droopy makes it a little more challenging, but it's not so bad. So we just start it a little bit and fun, I think. And if you have younger kale or that isn't so hard like this, you can also just leave it. But I find it is nice to remove the stems. They're very, for a salad. Oh, we didn't quite get it. Finish it. It's wonderful you are able to do this along with me. Kind of experience what it really is just to be so quiet. You know, it's a little, feels funny. There's these thoughts that come through my head where I'm like, oh my gosh, is it okay to be quiet right now? Are they going to be bored? Well, if you're bored, maybe that's interesting too. Why do we find some things boring? What is it that is entertaining about anything? Ooh, look at all these nice ones in the middle. I might just like eat this. These middle ones are so tender. They're like broccoli. Kind of fun. So I'm going to cut these up. Just finely shred them. And go on with the rest of our pile. I think maybe in a way it's almost like asking yourself rather than like, okay, even if you are feeling bored or like, oh, it's too quiet, like, oh, I'm doing like a chore. I think if that comes up, I can definitely understand how that would come up. So what if we just decided to reframe it and just try it? You don't have to force it. Like if you're still like, no, it's a chore, look, that's okay. But if we can try to reframe it and just say, what if I just try to enjoy, I just try to enjoy exactly what this is. See if I can. Can I enjoy literally just pulling the kale leaves off the stems? Is that something that like I've ever experienced? Like, can my human body enjoy this experience just for what it is? You might be surprised. Like, that's what's cool about all of this. We are so wired for, you know, what do we find pleasurable? It's just sensations of some kind in our body, right? And some we find pleasurable and some we don't. But there's all kinds of sensation. You know, we've just described all the things that we can see, hear, feel, etc. And right now I'm experiencing all kinds of sensations from this. And can I just slow down and see if there is something pleasurable there or something new? Something that is more interesting than, or something more good for me than maybe the contents of my mind, something I might be worrying about. And of course, we always want to let go of, is this meal going to be good enough? Because the answer is yes. And we can just leave it at that. I will admit, that was a lot of raw kale in my mouth. It's quite bitter. Can't say it's the most pleasurable eating experience I've had in a while, but it's interesting. Certainly noticing that my bitterness receptors are working. Which is good to know. Thank you, bitterness receptors, for letting me know what is bitter. Squeak. And I can feel myself kind of rushing, thinking, it almost sounds like the lentils are cooking a little faster. I can hear the bubbling kind of exploding or like speeding up, and just makes me want to check on it. So I'm going to actually do that. Yeah, I can see that a lot of the water is boiled off already. So I'm just going to do a quick check on them. They're not cooked yet, so I am actually going to add a little bit more water. And it's boiling off quite quickly. And it would be amazing if the water is all boiled off exactly as they were cooked, which sometimes happens. I think the last time I did it worked out just like that, and it feels incredible. That doesn't always work. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. We can always drain it, but we don't want it to actually not have any water left to cook the lentils. So that is looking great, though. It's getting there. And we're almost done with our kale. And then we're going to do an avocado. I'm moving my board around. Okay. We are done with the kale. Beautiful, fluffy pile of kale. We have 2 avocados here for us. And they're both ripe. How great is that? I also have a pear that I wanted to add, and I could not get a ripe pear. which is kind of a bummer. But in a salad, it's not so bad because it'll just be like crispy bits. And if it's not as sort of soft and juicy and amazing as a proper ripe pear, it'll at least have that nice crisp thing going. And that'll be kind of fun too. I might do one of these tiny apples and a pear just to really go full fall foliage. But first, we're going to appreciate our beautiful avocados. And the avocado is going to kind of be our most, we're also going to add olive oil and lime juice, but this is kind of like the dressing for the salad too, because it's all soft and massage it in. Oh, a little bit of brown spot. That's okay. Sure we can have. Oh, that one's looking very nice. That's my great technique. I hope you could see for how to remove the pits. Beautiful. I'm going to grab a smaller knife so that I can make some littler cuts in our avocado. And I hope you can see. What I'm really going to do is just kind of try to make like a little checkerboard in here, going all the way down and just until you hit the skin and not going through. And it's so, I mean, you can just do it literally again. It's like your senses are feeling it. I know it might feel like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? Just start and you'll feel it. As you press the knife through, you feel the soft texture of the avocado. And when you hit the rind, it's a completely different texture. It's much harder and you stop. And you have such sensitive ability, you know, think about all the things you do with your hands and with your muscles. You have the sensitivity to do that the first time. I know you do. And if you go through, who cares? It's okay. But especially if you slow down and just allow yourself to have it as an experience rather than, oh my gosh, I have to get this right. I need to like be able to do the avocado perfectly. You'll notice that you can do it. Ooh, pardon me. Okay, I'm going to grab a spoon over here and scoop. Scoopity doo. And yeah, the fun of the checkerboard thing is now they just fall out in these lovely little squares, kind of already cut up. It just makes our job, or my job, easier here now that I can just mix this in that much more easily. Ooh. Chunks of outside just flying around. Okay, I'm gonna set these aside. And while I'm at it, I will get rid of these. I really do love cleaning up as I go. I find it quite pleasant. Okay. And now I'm going to also add the juice of a lime in here and a bunch of salt too. Because avocado really needs salt to shine. And we've got quite a lot. We've got 2 whole avocados in here. And we want to have salt on all our vegetables in here. Here's my salt. They're like half tablespoon, probably more. And we have our 18 minutes, but it's not done. It's just not. I know it's not. We saw it before. We're going to solve this too. Thank you, timer. I appreciate you. Just going to try one, see where we are. Actually, not far. Probably just a couple more minutes, yeah. Okay, wonderful. Now I am going to get my hands in here, and I love using my hands. I like eating with my hands. I like using my hands in making food. I find it really fun. And also just such a nice, efficient way to mix. Like our hands are just built for this. And you feel so much of what you're doing. Like I can push, my muscles are so sophisticated, my hands are so sophisticated. I can feel, and I can actually like not crush this and just squish it a little bit against something if I want and leave pieces whole. And I can do that with the muscles in my hand. Whereas if I was just smushing it with some implements, I could be breaking things up so much more. I really love to use my hands. That looks really good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh. Yum. Yum. I'm excited. This is getting good now. Oh, the lime juice and the avocado, just all of a sudden the bitterness of the kale is made sort of this beautiful counterpoint to the fat and the lime, and all of a sudden it's amazing. So now we'll do our pear and our apple, just while we let the, it really is not ripe at all. Highly recommend a ripe one if you can get one. I should use this one's actually a little easier for this task. Paring knife, just to get the core out. Okay, there we go. Wonderful. And I'm going to cut it, I don't know, into like little slices. I guess 6 per quarter or so. And then into smaller pieces because, again, it's just I want people to be able to have a little bit in each bite rather than sort of a big thing that's going to come out. Woo! Let's try this unripe pear. Very pleasant, fun, crispy texture, but just not a lot of flavor, which is exactly what you would expect. It'll be nice in the salad. It's still good. I'm going to go back to this one now. Much better knife for this task. And the only thing that really told me that is experience and my senses. You have all these same skills in your own body too. I just need to be drawn out, noticed, reminded that they're there. All right. Our pear. How are you doing, lentils? What do you think? Should I check on them? The lentils are done. Fantastic. I'm just going to let the last little bit of water cook off while I very quickly chop this apple and do it exactly the same way we did with the pear. And we'll plate it up. We'll mix it up and plate it up, and we'll be good to go. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask away in the chat, and I can address them after. Or even if you're, just checking this out and want to ask a question later, please send me the question. I would be happy to address it either in the next class or in a post. We love to have interaction and really to hear your experiences, when you cook in this way with the senses, and take some time. How does it feel? How does it feel to you? Is there anything you noticed? Okay, we have our apple. Oh yeah, just gonna mix it up a little bit. So gorgeous. Okay, this out of here. And lentil time. Okay, lentils. This is hot. Coming in hot. Okay, and I am going to, there's very little water left in it. If there was more, I would want to drain that off before I dump this in, but there's very little water left. I'm just going to put it all straight in here. I've done this kind of a goofy way. Here we go. And it goes. Oh, yeah. Put this back. Lose my mittens. Whew. Here we go. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. And now, because I know this is boiling hot, I'm not going to use my hands because I don't want to hurt myself. I'm going to use these tongs to mix this up now. And I'm definitely going to, because I just added so much great stuff here, I'm going to add a bunch more lime juice. This is a really nice juicy lime. Absolutely fantastic. Oh yeah. Ooh, I'm excited about this actually. It's gonna be super yummy. Okay. So this is it. We're going to add some cashews to the top, but I'm just going to, for the sake of all of you, to really see the glory and beauty of this fall foliage experience. I'm going to put it on this plate. It's good too. Yes, of course it is. You see all the good things we put into it? Oh, all the time and love. Okay, there we go. Just gonna plate this beauty up. Oh my gosh. You didn't see that. So it's okay. It's good you saw it. See? We semi-professionals are, we also dump things on the floor all the time. All the time. You have no idea. That's why we get really good at cleaning things up with our feet, like you saw earlier, right? Okay, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Ugh. So exciting. This looks amazing. Got the cashews happening. These are roasted. Healthy handful or two. Just run my knife through these really quickly just to get a little more distribution, but if you get a whole big one, lucky you. Okay, that's that. Oh. And so I have been tasting it for salt and lime and all that, but it's just good. It's good. What can I say? Oh, amazing. So excited. And that is it. This is our warm October lentil salad made on this warm October sunny day with you all. Very first one. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to do this every week. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you soon.